you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's Happening in Your Neighborhood. I'm Scott Pemberton, and today's guest, we have Marco LiMandri. He's from the New City America, and today we're going to talk about just about the business improvement districts and stuff. And so, Marco, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, Scott.
Nice to have you here.
Appreciate being here.
Yes, my pleasure. So first of all, I'd just like to start off by just telling the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm a native San Diegan, native Californian, and grew up there, went to University of California at San Diego, graduated from public schools, was a food manufacturer from 1984 to 1993. When I married my wife in 1993, we had 5 kids, and had to stop the food business. I got involved in these small business improvement districts when I was in an area called Normal Heights in San Diego, about 1987, 1988. I was the president of this small business improvement district. When we closed the manufacturing plant, I said, what do I know how to do? And one thing I learned how to do was work with business and property owners in order to try to improve their neighborhood, which was really the downtown of Normal Heights in San Diego. So I began working with business and property owners. First contract I got was 1995 in West Hollywood, and we formed these assessment districts. And assessment districts are where property owners or business owners, it's a little unique in California, business owners can pay a supplement to their business district, and that money is pooled and goes set aside. And then a corporation is formed, a nonprofit corporation, and the business owners use that money in order to try to underwrite events, maybe facilitate parking. The business license-based districts don't generate as much money.
Right.
In 1994, the property-based districts were approved by the California State Legislature, and I started working in those. Most of them I've done in Los Angeles, and secondarily San Diego and San Francisco. But the company New City America was actually established in 1998, and since we formed 98 of these districts all throughout the country.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's more than almost any other company has done. The difference with us too is not only do we form them, because usually consultants will say, I think you need this, you need this, you need this, and they create a budget, and then that budget is spread among property owners, and that's how you generate the revenue. In California, what's a little bit unique is nobody's exempt. So cities pay into the district, school districts pay, tax exempts pay, all of them pay. So it creates a very rational way of generating revenue. And the difference is that New City America, we have 16 employees based in San Diego. New City America manages districts too. So we understand what it takes to form them, which is a legal process. Right. It must be adopted by the city council, and then the assessments are levied on the benefiting properties. The money is paid with a property tax bill. It goes to the city, and then it's transferred to the nonprofit corporation, and the nonprofit corporation then uses those funds to enhance and provide benefits to the downtown area. We manage 7 of those districts right now in California. So we understand what it really takes to run a district and fund programs and activities, and the activities could include sidewalk sweeping, pressure washing, responding to homelessness, parking mitigation and parking management, events, social media, PR, relations with elected officials, going after grants. And so I just stepped down from running what's called the Little Italy district in downtown San Diego. And Little Italy, at one point, there were about 13 or 14 Little Italys left in the country. Now there's probably 3 or 4.
Right.
And our Little Italy is by far the largest. North End is very active, but we have a lot more residents living in our area.
Right.
The other one would be in Providence, Federal Hill. They're pretty active too, but most of the other Little Italys nationwide have fallen by the wayside. We don't do just Little Italys. We've done ethnic business districts. We did gay and lesbian districts. We do a lot of specialty districts.
Okay, right.
So I have a pretty wide realm, and we've done this all throughout the country, from the Northeast all the way to California, up to Seattle. So I'm the president of the association, and I came to New Bedford. I was asked to come to New Bedford in February 2014 to talk about this whole concept.
Right. Okay. So so basically, like you said, it's the money is put aside, and it's used for a different event. So no out of pocket that's coming from the business, from the person who owns the business, or are they paying a little bit into it as well?
Well, if the property owner has like 5 tenants, and let's say that their annual assessments are, $3,000, and if all the businesses are equal in size, and they can spread it to those businesses, and each of those business owners might pay like $500 a year.
Right.
And people say, well, it's going to cost me more money. The point isn't to have people pay more money. The point is to create more business. The whole concept is based upon demand. Demand on properties, demand on businesses, and therefore those business owners, if they're paying $500 or $1,000 a year as part of their building's assessment, the assumption is that they would generate an extra $8,000 to $10,000 a year, 8 to 10 times what they would be paying out.
Yeah.
So, and if one person doesn't, and the next person doesn't, and the next person does not, and then you can't market and promote a downtown with a sporadic approach to generating revenue. So what I've learned over the years is you need 5 things to make a business district work. And increasingly, and particularly post-COVID, downtowns are going to become neighborhoods. They're not going to just be business districts. And you can see that going in downtown New Bedford right now.
Right, with all the apartments going in there now.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah. So
A lot of it used to be affordable. Now it's market rate and affordable, which allows for more disposable income in downtown to help the existing businesses.
Right.
But I've tried to simplify it when I'm speaking. I speak at a lot of conferences and said the first thing you need is a place. You need an identifiable place. Well, there's no greater places than New England, because this is where the Europeans came into the United States and North America. Plymouth just celebrated its 400th anniversary, and Sandwich is right behind them. New Bedford is not far behind them. You go to California, and the oldest city is probably San Francisco, which is maybe 170 years old.
Right.
So I always tell people it's funny when people in California talk about their old town. It's like, that's nothing. New Bedford's got houses going back to 1830. And you go to Fairhaven, it's 1700s, right?
Right.
So there's really nothing old in California. But the first thing is you need an identifiable place. And downtown New Bedford is clearly an identifiable place. It was an abolitionist town. It was the world headquarters of the whaling industry.
Right.
And then when when kerosene came in, took the place of whale oil, then it moved into textiles and fine textiles and cotton. And so it keeps reinventing itself, just like New York City and Manhattan does. The most successful cities, Boston's a great example too, they reinvent themselves as time goes on.
Right.
So the first thing is, what's the place? The place is a great place. When I first came here in 2014, I looked at downtown New Bedford and said, this thing's a movie set. Cobblestone streets, historic buildings, a great street grid, right on the water. So these are all the assets. So the place is clearly established here. The second thing you need is independent revenues in order to promote the place. Now that's where the business improvement district, which I now call community benefit districts, that's where that comes in. You might have a great downtown like New Bedford, but it has no sustainable revenues that a corporation of business and property owners can use to market and promote downtown New Bedford. Why would people have to go on a boat to go to Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard when they could see a lot of the same things that are here?
That are here,
right?
Exactly.
This is classic New England.
Right.
So the whole point of the bid was to do the second piece, which is you need sustainable revenues that are independent of the city.
Right.
The third thing you need is you need to have an entrepreneurial, tax-exempt nonprofit corporation, a 501c3. So, for example, in Little Italy, our annual assessments are about $1.3 million to take care of Little Italy, which is around 90 acres. And if you don't have that and you're not entrepreneurial, like, for example, our $1.3 million in assessments will lead to a $3.5 million budget this year.
Right.
We do a lot. We have a very, very profitable farmers market. We get a lot of grants from our county supervisors and different foundations. We do activities, and we have a philosophy that every activity must pay for itself. We're not underwriting any activity. And if it doesn't pay for itself, we don't do it.
Right, okay.
So 1.3 gets transformed into 3.5 million, which means we can provide a lot more services in downtown. So the third thing is you need to have an entrepreneurial nonprofit corporation, but you need the revenue in order to leverage that revenue for additional revenue.
Right.
And New Bedford doesn't have that downtown.
Right. No.
The fourth thing you need is politics and timing, and politics and timing are extremely interesting in New Bedford.
Yeah, well,
I don't have to tell you about it.
No, no, they really are, especially these times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would just say, lastly, the fifth point is you need to manage in the real world. So, for example, if you go through something devastating like we did with COVID, where you had all these forced government shutdowns and people could not operate it anymore, so how do you manage in that situation in which all of your constituents have been shut down? In Little Italy, when I first started, we had about 13 Italian businesses and restaurants and cafes. We had 85 by the time COVID hit. And we didn't lose one.
Right.
Through the entire process of COVID, we didn't lose one. We're one of the only business districts I know where we didn't lose people. There's still ramifications. Office workers didn't come back, but we had about 5,000 units built over the last 20 years. 5,000 residential units get transformed into 8,000 to 10,000 people that live there.
Right.
Those residents kept the place alive.
Okay.
And they patronized it. So it's those five things. That you have to have a good place. Number two, you have to have sustainable revenues, which downtown New Bedford doesn't have. Number three, you have to have an entrepreneurial district management corporation that uses those revenues to promote the place, which New Bedford doesn't have. You have to have politics and timing. Some politics were supportive in New Bedford, other politics were not.
Yeah.
And we saw that at the city council meeting
Right.
that we went through. And then lastly, you have to manage in real time. Well, you can't manage unless you have the money in the corporation. So
Right.
that was all part of this plan, is to develop the business improvement district, which I started originally in 2014 when I was hired, and there was no support for it at that point.
Okay.
Then my wife and I bought a home here, a second home by Klasky Commons, and then we bought a commercial property on Purchase Street because we wanted to be part. We were so enlightened by downtown and thought there were so many assets here. We said, we got to be part of this thing.
Right.
And then COVID hit. So it changed the trajectory, but over the course of 2021 through 2024, we slowly built support for this business improvement district, and we finally brought it to City Council in 2024.
Okay. So, I mean, now it seems like to me, there's a lot of people that was opposed to, to this as well. But, I mean, when I listened to yourself and I did some research and some homework, because I wasn't sure where I stood in the beginning either, because you hear so many different things.
Right.
But then I started doing my homework about it, and I'm like, what is really bad about this? You're trying to improve the downtown area, trying to help the businesses so they can grow and make more money themselves, and that was the whole idea of this bid, and I don't know why it failed, or why so many people didn't want to go ahead and do this, but I mean, to me it's like so I run an organization downtown. It's called the Joe Jesus 50s Night. And that's what I do. I'm looking for some money from businesses and some people,
Right.
so we can bring in the people so they can make money, And surprisingly, it's like not all the businesses even stay open. It's like, why wouldn't you want to stay open?
Right, because they believe there's no demand and there's no point in them doing it.
Right, and to me, I think it's we have 3,000 people downtown. I mean, that's a lot of people.
That's great for business.
It sure is.
Yeah, and you want to have that as much as possible.
Right.
But you can't do it and benefit businesses if they're closed.
Right.
So we're trying to raise the bar for the businesses and say, why aren't people open after 6 o'clock on a Saturday or something like that?
Right.
There might be some restaurants, but as you know, restaurants, some of them have closed, like Freestone's closed. Carmine's is now going through a transition at this point.
Exactly, yeah.
And what I fear is that the people, So I think we have to back up a little bit. And the people that were, there was this whole policy of character assassination, I think you're aware of, when the Business Improvement District was formed. The Downtown New Bedford, Inc., which is the organization that's been around, and they were the ones that originally hired me in 2014 to do this Business Improvement District investigation. They took it upon themselves, along with their president, to say that this was a backdoor way of gentrifying downtown. Why? Because downtown doesn't need more money? I mean, the businesses need revenue in order to survive so they can hire people all throughout New Bedford to work in downtown. And that feeds onto itself. But they talked about me being tied to organized crime. They talked about me being a developer from Los Angeles, and I've never lived in Los Angeles. They talked about how we're trying to gentrify everything in downtown, kick all the current businesses out. And at the same time, I found out in this report, the Downtown New Bedford, Inc., the reason why they're opposed to us forming the district under the statute in the Commonwealth is because they made a grant to the city of New Bedford to form their own bid. We didn't find out about this till after it was over. The city council people didn't know about it, and the mayor's office said, no, a bid is being formed right now.
Right.
We're not going to give you to form your own bid. The whole point of the Downtown New Bedford, Inc. is they oppose the bid that we're doing, which I did as a volunteer for 3 years.
Right.
3 years, getting paid not a penny. And at the same time, we found out about this after the fact, that the leadership of the Downtown New Bedford, Inc. wanted to form their own bid. They wanted to run their own bid and then pay their board members or pay their president or pay whatever, however it was going to go.
Right.
But it was devious as far as I'm concerned, and people were not honest and upfront about their motivation for opposing this. And they got everybody riled up about gentrification.
Right.
Well, you know, I would tell you too that a city like New Bedford, which probably 50% of the people may be on public assistance, and it has to do with they get hurt at work, there's disability, they don't have enough money to pay their rent, etc. That's what's happening in post-industrial towns. But a vibrant downtown would have helped everybody, and
absolutely.
could still help everybody.
Absolutely. You know, just coming in today, I was hearing a couple of people talking about downtown and saying there's nothing down there anymore. You know, they said, why would you want to go down there?
And it's so frustrating.
And it is frustrating, you know. It's frustrating for when I hear it, because there are people down there that are trying to make a living. That,
correct.
You know, and when you hear that, it's like, no, go down there. There is, you know, there's enough shops down there, you know, that you can go and visit. And these people work hard to, you know, to try to.
And they got everything at stake.
And you know. It's like, you know, you got to support that small business, that small community, and make it grow. That's the only way you're going to grow, is you got to support it and just work with each other, you know. You know, like I said earlier, I did some of the homework, and, you know, like some of the benefits that New Bedford downtown would have benefited. It's unreal that how much we could have actually really benefited.
Right. We had a $200,000 budget. We were going to get about a $50,000 grant from the city in order to do cleaning. Downtown is not systematically cleaned. And what's going on is that the city put a lot of improvements onto Purchase Street with the ARPA money from the federal government during COVID. And it's really attractive at night, but you had two things that happened, and then a third thing that happened, and then a fourth thing that happened. The first thing is UMass closed. Right. And how that happened, I still don't get it. I don't think anybody, you don't just close a university branch in one day and say, we're done.
Right.
You know, and if it costs $1 to buy the building, then who was not thinking about that ahead of time?
Exactly.
Secondly, the Z closed, and the Z's closed only because it's being refurbished, which is great. But in the meantime, that used to bring a lot of people downtown. People used to go downtown, they'd have dinner, and they go to the Z. Maybe afterwards they go to a bar, etc. And that whole effort to bring people into downtown on an ongoing basis for cultural purposes went out the window. Third, you know that the 195 bridge into Highway 18 is going to be taken down.
Right.
To try to get in to downtown is going to be very, very problematic.
Right.
And fourth, when you look at it, the bid, which could have mitigated a lot of the negative impact of all of those things, was defeated or actually never passed by the city council because there was such an uproar that there was hidden agendas. There were people from outsiders that were trying to take over downtown New Bedford. And there's businesses there that are still trying to survive. And it's
Yes.
extremely important that they survive.
Yes.
But I think that you'll see, Scott, is what's going on is a lot of the effort, the critical mass of retail businesses, hotels, is now at the far eastern end of Union, when Union hits the 18. And then you're going to have the State Pier, which is going to become a really great, I think, a center of activity too.
Yes.
But in the meantime, Purchase Street isn't able to catch up.
Right.
And you're going to see a lot more vacancies on Purchase Street, which I think Purchase Street was called Purchase Street because it was the downtown Main Street.
Right.
And so trying to balance the whole thing out, but the effort to kill the bid by Downtown New Bedford Inc. was crippled a lot of the efforts.
Right. Yeah. And talk about the pier. Like you said, they just got a grant there as well. They're gonna revive that. I mean, and just with the pier and the downtown just together. I mean, we talk about having people coming in from other states and just to come and look at the city and travel, and it's like we have everything here.
Yeah.
New Bedford is actually really a beautiful city.
Yes.
I don't think people realize how beautiful New Bedford really is.
It's incredible. I mean, that's why I said I fell in love with it as soon as I came here. And if you look at the assets, you are the fishing capital of the country, scallop capital of the world. You're becoming the center of wind industry, and then the train's coming, right?
Right.
And remote working, which is now going to be a standard in the way people work. If people in Boston want to spend $600,000, they can get a closet in Boston, or they can buy a semi-mansion in New Bedford. And they can get on the train if they remote work. They go to work 3 days a week. They can get on the train, they can work on the train, go to South Station, come back home, and they've got a great home. And they've got a great city to work in, too. And that was part of the whole thing, is getting ready for the train, too.
Right.
But the effort got killed in the spring by the actions of some business owners that had their own agenda.
Right. And which is, that's a shame because, like I said, I did some research on it, and going back, to what we're talking about, what I get confused about is that I see that people wanted to do this, like we talked about, wanted to do this bid, but for whatever reason it didn't go through with them, and then here you come along, and then that same group who wanted this is now opposed to it.
Correct. Yes, because there was a change in leadership. The original leadership of Downtown New Bedford, Inc. was fully supportive of this, understood that this was a valuable tool that was used all throughout the country. Not every business improvement district is run correctly. Not every nonprofit is run correctly. Not every city is run correctly, right? So you have goods and you have bad examples, but the whole point was for everybody to benefit.
Right.
Everybody.
Everybody, and they would have benefited. I mean, and again, I was looking up in San Diego about Little Italy. I mean, and they have like these food tours that you can go to, and wine tours. I mean, that's great where you can just have these tours. You just go from restaurant to restaurant, trying these different dishes of,
Right.
Different ethnicities, and because we have it all here. New Bedford is a very diverse city. You can get just about anything that you want in a meal from what other country,
Right,
basically.
right.
And you can just get it right here.
We have an annual
And
taste of Little Italy. It throws off $50,000 profit to the association and we sell 1,500 tickets.
Right.
And 20 years ago, nobody would have gone to Little Italy.
Right.
But that goes back into the budget, which improves downtown and provides more services.
Right. So, with this being said, and they go through. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that it still can't be done and it's
Correct.
not over.
You're right.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, this is still something that's still in the air that can still get done in the
Right.
city here. But what we need some people to come on board. I mean, it's really to me, it's a wonderful thing for the city to have. It's going to bring revenue. Everybody talks about taxes going up. Let's face it, we know they're not going to come down.
Correct.
We know that.
Because there's certain, you have pension obligations, you have declining infrastructure, you have emergencies that occur.
Right.
All those things the city has to deal with.
Right. But what we can do is maintain it at a certain level, though, without it going high.
Right.
And part of the bid here would have helped that.
Yeah, and I think that you also have structural problems in the Commonwealth, and I bring this up a lot to different people. That everything, if the city's budget has to go up, which it does because police, fire, city employees need increases, the things that the city didn't anticipate, they have to go and improve their infrastructure and their physical plant. But everything is based on property taxes in the Commonwealth. And to me, I don't get that because, for example, if you have, I've been meeting with leadership in Salem. You can't get into Salem in October. All those people come in for, obviously they're turned on by the witches
Right.
and Halloween, but there's no additional revenue that comes with all those people. If you had a good, solid hotel tax and you had a good, solid sales tax, that revenue would be coming into the general fund and would not mandate that the city has to increase the property taxes on a regular basis.
Right.
Because right now, property taxes probably constitute 75 to 80% of the city budget.
Right.
And cities don't have the right to put a vote to people say, do you want a 2% or 3% sales tax? Because the sales tax is what reflects visitors coming to town.
Exactly. Right.
Like, look at your bill. You'll look at it like a $200. You go out to dinner with a bunch of people. Look at a $200 bill, and the state's getting maybe out of that $12 in sales taxes. City's getting like $1.25.
Right.
That makes no sense.
It makes no sense. No.
Whatsoever. And so until the Commonwealth understands, you have to create these geographically based revenue systems, like property taxes are one, parking meters are another, sales taxes are another, and hotel taxes are another. Once you have that, then the city will be more flush, and people will not be so hesitant to say, I'm not going to increase my property taxes through this property assessment, because that's every year we get hit for increases and increases and increases.
Right, right. Now, we only got a couple minutes left here in the show, but I know that you recently were recognized as in San Diego for Little Italy.
Yeah, it was Marco LiMandri Day on December
Marco
2nd by the mayor of San Diego.
Yeah, so that was good. I read that, and that was...
It was
right?
given to me last Saturday night. We had a Christmas tree lighting in Little Italy. We had probably 40,000 people there. The mayor was there. Mayor Gloria is good friends with Mayor Mitchell. And so I just sent it to everybody. I said, you guys, contrary to what you heard in New Bedford, we're not corrupt, we're not developers,
right.
And look what the mayor of San Diego did by giving me this one day.
Exactly.
And the county of San Diego did the exact same thing. Yeah. That was because I'm stepping back from Little Italy to do more work all throughout the nation. So.
Okay, right. And then just to make it clear, New City America is not coming in here to take control of the city or New Bedford, right?
No.
We all, I mean...
It's never been that.
It's never been, right.
No. That was never the motivation.
Right.
The motivation is that why would I work 3 years for free to try to take something over? It's ridiculous. It was all... We knew that if my son's business, which is on Purchase Street, did better, the restaurants would do better, the bars would do better,
exactly.
The hotels would do better.
Right.
Because we had $150,000 dedicated in the Business Improvement District budget to market and promote downtown.
Right.
Move to New Bedford from Boston and commute. Those people will bring their disposable income, improve things for everybody in the city so they have more disposable income, more jobs. People need jobs in New Bedford, exactly. And they shouldn't have to drive far. They should be able to come to downtown and do them.
Right, right. So, well, Marco, it's 30 minutes goes by fast.
Yeah, it went by really fast.
Yeah, we can sit here and talk for another half hour, another hour or so. But maybe we can do it again. We continue this again.
This issue is not over.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know that downtown New Bedford, as it grows and more residents come here, we know that they're going to have dogs. Dogs are going to do what they do in the public right of way. Who's going to clean it up?
Right.
So you have to say you need to manage your downtown. That's something that I think we've excelled in from New City America better than almost any other company. And my wife and I and my son John and Joe, we were all willing to do it to help to try to put this thing together. Didn't happen this time, but times change.
Exactly. Yep. Well, I wish you good luck. I'm looking forward to see what happens in the future with here in New Bedford, and with New City America, and hopefully things will change in the future. And,
2025
you know,
will be an interesting year.
yeah, I think so. And
But I think everybody, you know, I wish everybody happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and let's all hope for the best, and let's start working together in downtown. So even if people don't like each other, it doesn't matter. It's about downtown. It's not about who you don't like.
Right, exactly. Again, this is What's Happening in Your Neighborhood. I'm Scott Pemberton. I was here with Marco LiMandri, and we were talking about the Business Improvement District and City America. And again, just make sure you support your small businesses out there. And if you need any more information, they can go to look it up at what City America is it?
It's www.newcityamerica.com.
Yeah, so you just go there, get more information. Like I said, this is with Marco LiMandri, and we'll talk about the bid. And again, just support your local businesses. And I just encourage everybody to go to that site and just get more information on there, because this bid would have been a really good thing for the city here. So again, we'll see you on the next show. And this is Scott Pemberton with What's Happening in Your Neighborhood.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.